Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to a group training. Today we're going over fat loss specifically. I was going to talk about muscle building and fat loss, but I'm going to save that muscle building for a separate training because, they deserve their own training entirety. So we're going to get into it. We're going to get right into it. How does fat loss work? It's a calorie deficit. And what I want to quickly talk about, like what a calorie deficit is. It is the foundation of fat loss. It's taking in fewer calories than your body needs to maintain its current weight. Your body needs calories to maintain its mass, its lean mass, its fat mass, its adipose tissue, everything that's going on. Your body needs calories to function. Calories are our energy. Okay, and it's all an energy balance. Like you guys remember that I was trying to make a visual, but you guys remember the like the law, the thing where it's like a balancing beam. It's all an energy balance. So one day we're you need for the energy balance to be correct for us to keep losing body fat and to maintain and build our muscle. We need to be in a slight calorie deficit, but not so much of a deficit where it's deterring our strength, it's deterring our body's functions. So it's a sweet spot that we need to find. And a lot of you who've been getting started in the program, it can take a few weeks, maybe even a month to find that sweet spot. And we're going to talk about how we find that sweet spot. So an energy balance. You are burning more energy than you're consuming. Okay? And I don't want you guys to be thinking that, cardio helps me burn more energy. Cardio, I want you guys to think cardio is what makes you fit, makes you healthy, helps your lung and heart health. Cardio is not great for actually losing fat. It can help, it can be a tool, but the deciding factor that's going to keep us in our calorie deficit is our nutrition. Cardio is great. Cardio can help with fat loss. It can. But it's not it's not as big as nutrition when it comes to fat loss. Okay? Calories are a unit of measurement, just like inches, just like miles per hour. Calories are a measure of energy. Of course, all we get in this argument in the nutrition field where are all calories created equal? Of course not. Like 100 calories from donuts and 100 calories from broccoli is going to affect your body differently. But the only thing it's not going to affect differently is thermodynamics. That's the fancy way of saying calorie deficit. Like if you take in 100 calories from a donut, if say that your nutritional goals to lose fat inside my program are at 2,000 calories. If you eat 2,000 calories from whole foods, broccoli, chicken, and rice, and then you eat 2,000 calories from donuts and fast food, you're still going to lose fat on both diets. You're not going to feel good on one of them. It's going to probably fuck up your performance. It's going to probably fuck up your skin. But the thing is, no matter, it's all an energy balance. So if you get 2,000 calories from junk food, 2,000 calories from good food that's going to fuel you properly, you are going to lose fat the same because it's all an energy balance. You might not be as healthy. There's a lot of people that are really into fitness and got shredded that aren't healthy because they might not be eating a lot of nutrient dense foods. They might not be doing cardio. That's why I like to make this like a healthy process of losing fat. We're not just after a result. We're after we're after becoming fit and athletic. Like that's what we want. We don't just want the result. We want to be fit for our lives. So that's why we do cardio and that's why we eat a lot of whole foods like animal-based proteins, vegetables, fruits. It's okay to have processed foods, but the majority of our calories should definitely be whole foods. You know what I'm talking about? But I'm not anti-processed anything really. It's just that if you get a lot of your nutrition from processed foods, which I used to do, you can look good that way, but you're not going to feel so great. You're going to perform so much greater once you eat the way we're eating inside the program. Um, and I'm going to be talking to a lot of you guys who need to be increasing your fiber intake, and we'll talk about that in a second. So, tracking progress. That's why I want you guys to weigh in multiple times a week. When you first get started, we're still like kind of like in a trial and error period, so we're tracking our food and we're tracking our weight at least 3 times a week when we first get started. You're tracking your food daily and you're tracking your weight 3 times a week. And then we step back, we look at the weekly average, and if we're losing body fat by weekly, then we know we're on the right track. But if we're staying stagnant, if there's a lot of fluctuations, it can take time for your body to adjust to a calorie deficit. But 9 times out of 10, after about a month of doing the right things, we will know whether we're in a calorie deficit or not. And you know, I'm really good at like looking at indicators because a lot of people get scared by fluctuations. Oh, the scale's going up and down. But like we don't need to pay attention to the daily fluctuations. We need to pay attention to the weekly and really the monthly average. Because if you step back and look at your progress, you'll be like, whoa, okay, I guess I am. We are definitely on the right track. Because a calorie deficit can be achieved very easily by really just observing what you eat. Okay? You guys remember when the teacher was in the classroom, we all kind of tried to pay attention and shit. And when the teacher left the classroom, we'd all go crazy because when we know someone's observing our behavior and we're observing our own behavior, we're just gonna make better decisions. And usually that alone will get most people into an initial calorie deficit. Cheers. All right. Any questions so far watching on the live? I know it's just a few people, but if you guys have any questions, you can hit the chat or you can comment below. That's why I want us to weigh in multiple. A lot of people get anxiety by weighing in multiple times a month, like week. Like I'm trying to get you detached from that anxiety and just understand like this is just part of the process. We need to know. We need to make sure we're on the right track. It's just like people with diabetes checking, monitoring their glucose. It's just like we need to make sure that we're on track. We're doing the right things. Like you need to try to get detached from the emotional side of the scale. I know that's kind of hard, but we're just using it as a metric to know that we're on the right track. I don't like to do measurements. The way I like to track progress is visually taking full body pictures, and then weighing in multiple times a week. And I've worked with a lot of people that get really discouraged with the fluctuations. Oh, the scale's going up, or this is happening. Well, we need to dissect what's really going on. 9 times out of 10, you didn't gain body fat. Your body's holding on to water. You might have if you had a salty meal the day before, your body's holding on to water. If you haven't had a bowel movement, you're holding on to waste. There's a multitude of things that are going to affect the scale. That's why again, we look at the averages, weekly and monthly averages. Okay? Because I can tell very quickly when we're not on the right track or we are on the right track. A lot of people um, who have different body types, different ages, it can take some time for us to find that sweet spot to make sure that we're in a calorie deficit and we see that scale going down. Nutrition strategy for fat loss. A calorie deficit is the only way you can burn fat. Guys, I'm glad that you guys started this program. Hopefully you guys didn't do any other programs before this, but there's a lot of people out there that don't believe in this um, philosophy that calorie deficit is like a fake thing. The thing is, guys, like this is thermodynamics. Energy cannot be created or destroyed with equal or greater output. So we either got to burn the calories, or not eat the calories, or that's the only way we're going to lose the fat. So it's a lot of people who see results doing keto or you see results doing a fad diet, you only lost fat because you were in a calorie deficit. People who do keto or intermittent fasting, they think they're losing fat because they're doing intermittent fasting. No, they're losing fat because they got into a calorie deficit. The intermittent fasting might help you get into a calorie deficit. The keto might help you get into the calorie deficit. But as a coach, I don't think that's the healthiest way to do it. You know, restricting ourselves from carbs is what keto is. Carbs are our energy. We need to be prioritizing those before and after the workout to optimize our performance. And intermittent fasting, when we're only eating in a time window, we're leaving gains on the table. And we're going to get into that. There's protein synthesis occurs 5 times per day. So we have the opportunity to build muscle 5 times per day. That's why you see bodybuilders who eat a lot of small meals a bunch of times throughout the day because they want to optimize their muscle gain. If we're eating protein 5 times per day, we will build more muscle than we're only eating protein 3 times per day. Over time, it can make a big difference. A calorie, even if you eat foods high in calories, we already talked about that. You know, it doesn't matter. The calories in, calories out. It's all that matters. But we want to eat healthier foods, of course, so we can be healthy. The healthy foods, though, don't equal fat loss. That's why you see a lot of fat vegans. The healthy doesn't mean fat loss. This is the numbers game, but it's a combination of things because we're not just after a result. Remember, we're after the fit, athletic, healthy individual. So that's why it's a numbers game and also a micronutrient game. So macronutrients, protein, carbs, and fat. Micronutrients, vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants. We need both. Okay. You guys know I'm a big fan of high volume eating. You know, sometimes when I'm really trying to lose fat and I'm like, need to get into a calorie deficit, like, and I'm feeling really hungry, I'll have 2 to 3 to sometimes 4 bags of popcorn. That ready popcorn, it's only 100 calories. You pop a whole bag of it. That's so much volume. I remember once having 4 bags in one day because I was so hungry and I was trying to get leaner. And I mean, that might be a little bit not the healthiest way to do it, but I mean, popcorn's not unhealthy and it's so much volume. Think about 100 calories. Like popcorn just has a lot of volume. So that's why I promote high volume eating, because our bodies don't know what calories are. Calories are a man-made measurement. Our bodies only know volume, mass, and density. So if we can trick our body into thinking that it's eating more when it's not, by putting in a lot of volume, a lot of fiber, and then expanding our stomach with a lot of water throughout the day, we're going to have less hunger hormones, less cravings, and it's going to be easier to stick to a calorie deficit. Fruit, vegetables, high fiber. These slow down digestion and keep us full for longer. Most vegetables and fruit have have more volume and less calories compared to other processed snacks. Protein. Protein is my favorite macronutrient. Protein or carbs. Protein's just cool because it has a thermic effect of food, unlike any other macronutrient. So, meaning that it takes a lot of calories to actually break down and digest protein. So you're going to be burning more calories eating more protein. Compare a bowl of chicken breast to a bowl of French fries. You're going to eat that French fries real quick. The bowl of chicken breast, like, that's very dense and fibrous. It's going to take your body like some time and chewing and going down your stomach, and it takes a lot of energy to break down that protein. So you're actually going to be burning calories eating a lot more protein. It's not a whole bunch of calories, but over time, if we prioritize protein at every meal and we do this over a period of time, we're going to be able to eat more calories and still lose body fat, because protein has a thermic effect of food. Okay? Fiber helps with digestion and satiety. If anytime you're having a large protein meal, like, I never recommend just eating a steak. You want a little bit of fiber, because the fiber helps transfer those nutrients so you can digest it properly, so you don't get indigestion. So you're making sure that you're absorbing all the nutrients from the proteins and the amino acids. You will absorb the protein if you eat it alone, of course, but it's not going to be as optimal if you have a little bit of fiber, even if you have a little bit of carbs, because the carbs and the fiber spike your insulin. Okay, when your insulin is spiked, your body is ready to absorb shit. When like people who do keto or carnivore, when they only eat fats and proteins, they never spike their insulin. And a lot of people talk shit, oh, spike my insulin. Spiking your insulin is good for building muscle because it opens up the pathways for cells to get where they need to go. Whenever you spike your insulin, your body is ready to absorb nutrients. That's when it absorbs all the nutrients. So you spike your insulin, a little bit of carbs, and then you drink you get in your protein. Your body's really going to be absorbing that optimally. And that's why, we also, have a little bit of carbs before the workout. We spike our insulin. That's gonna get us our blood going. Our body is, once you eat carbs, fast digesting carbs, your blood is circulating more. Your body is like moving in a more optimal way, because our body preferred fuel source is carbohydrates. So when you ever have a carbohydrate, sugary, you can feel it. Like, you eat some sugar, you're like, oh shit, I'm ready to do some shit. Like, that's why, like, before today's workout, had a Rice Krispie treat and had a crazy pump and a great workout. And the only time I'd probably have, I wouldn't just be sitting on my ass at night eating Rice Krispie treats. I would be doing that before my workout, because I know it's going to go straight into my bloodstream, and it's going to spike my insulin, and it's going to force a lot of blood and glycogen, carbohydrates, glycogen, into my muscles. I'm going to get a pump, and yeah, so carbs are good. You can technically be in a deficit with junk food. Did we already talk about this? But it won't give you the nutrition you need, leaving you hungry and feeling miserable. That's why high protein, blah, blah, blah. And I was going to also say, guys, fat loss is a mindset battle. Building muscle is more physically demanding, and losing fat is more mentally demanding. I've learned this from my firsthand experience and working with a bunch of clients. I know fat loss is a mental battle. Losing fat is simple, but it's not easy. It's more of a mental battle, because even though it's simple, people are complicated. It's hard for us to put the fork down. We get so much hunger pains. We get a lot of cravings, and that's why we do the things that I mentioned before: high volume eating protein throughout the day, lots of water, fiber, meal prepping, tracking, observing our nutrition, all of the things that I mentioned previously are going to help with the mental battle. But you also have to work on your mindset, like we do with the 15-minute morning routine. A lot of the reasons why I make clients do that is because this is not going to be easy. We need to be mentally tough to be able to be okay with being in a calorie deficit, because you might feel hungry sometimes, especially if you're coming in and you're very overweight and you're trying to lose a lot of fat. You have to sometimes, tell yourself, like, I'm a little bit hungry. This is what fat loss feels like. Instead of being like, okay, I got to eat something, this is what fat loss feels like. But we can do our best by eating more fruits and vegetables, because you're going to really feel so much more hungry if you're not eating fruits and vegetables and a bunch of protein and drinking a lot of water. If you're not having a lot of volume and fiber into your stomach, you're not expanding it, you're going to get so hungry. And it's not going to surprise me even if you do get a little hungry with eating a lot of volume, fiber, and protein, because you're maybe used to stuffing your face. So it's hard to say, but you do have to let yourself know that if you're getting insufficient nutrients, you're getting in protein, and you are still a little bit hungry, you can be like, hey, this is what fat loss feels like. I don't need to go to the cupboards. I don't need to do this. I can go drink some water. I can go eat some fruit. I can go eat a low calorie, high protein snack. Boom. Okay? You need to be mentally ready and strong enough to stay consistent over time. That's everybody's problem, guys. We know, I know a lot of you guys watching this, like, how to do it. Calorie, how. It's who. We need to be the person who can do it. So that's why we work a lot on mindset, a lot on self-talk. Remember, every time you're doing something that's going to help you with that fat loss, that self-talk needs to be like, I'm doing this. I'm a badass. Nobody's fucking with me. I got this shit. I'm so, like, you need, like, that self-talk needs to be so affirming, so confident that you are loving yourself and you're crushing it. Because if your self-talk is like, fuck, this is hard. I'm so hungry. I can't do this. Like, if you're doing that, then you're going to get burnt out. That's not sustainable. Like, we need to have the self-talk where, like, you're a fucking savage. You can do this, because it's going to take some mental toughness. Like, I'm sorry. A lot of people want shit easy. If it was easy, it wouldn't be super valuable. You're going to have to go through a little bit of struggle, a little bit of suffering. But that struggle and suffering is really where you build that intrinsic worth. That's a little bit of shuffle and struggling is really where you build that wisdom. So that's really like what you want. Like, push through that, but don't push through it where you're just like starving yourself. Like, and that's why you should like really communicate with your coach and make sure that you're logging all your meals. So we're doing this the right way, and not, doing it the wrong way. Okay, cool. Boom. And this is all about habits. Building habits and changing the way you talk to yourself is key. It's fundamental. If you are mentally tough, you can stick to the plan. If you're not mentally tough, you're going to opt out of the work and you're going to be yo-yoing like Oprah. Ah. All right, let's get into nutrition plan for muscle building and avoiding fat gain. This is where it gets a little tricky, because you're trying to build muscle, you're trying to burn fat. A calorie deficit that burns fat covering your muscles, no matter how much you train, if you aren't in a deficit, you'll never remove that layer of body fat. And I know that's a lot of people's struggle. A lot of people who I've worked with have that struggle where they have a good amount of muscle, but they have that layer of body fat. And this takes mindset too. This is why tracking calories is crucial, and making sure that you're accurate with tracking calories. And some people that are in my program are actually now using a food scale. I don't use a food scale. I've never used a food scale, but some people like having that extra accuracy. And that you're welcome to do that. Just for me, it's just that it's a little overwhelming to deal with a food scale. I don't think it's necessary, but it could benefit you if that's something that you want to try. Protein 5 times per day. That's optimal. Like, you guys don't have to have protein 5 times a day. I don't normally have protein 5 times a day. It's usually like 4 times a day. It's usually breakfast, lunch, dinner, and then I have like a protein snack for dessert. But like, that's what the bodybuilders do. Like, the bodybuilders, like, even though they're on steroids and shit, they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. Even though they're on steroids, they know what they're doing. Most of them are meal prepping small, or high, like very low calorie, high protein meals, and they're having like 5 to 8 of those throughout the day to keep their digestive system moving, to keep their metabolism burning, and to make sure that they hit protein synthesis 5 times per day. I don't expect you guys to eat protein spread out 5 times per day, but you can aim for that and just know that that is pretty optimal. And if you could only, three is good. Three protein 3 times per day is good. Four is great, and five is amazing. Fiber and water. And the thing is, guys, as long as you're hitting your protein goal, I don't really care. I actually have a few people that are only eating like 2 meals a day, which I'm not a huge fan of, but as long as you hit your calories and protein, that's all that matters. We're still going to see results. The reason why I give you guys these little bit of tips to add on to is just to make it more optimal, to make it more effective, to make the suffering less, so we can suffer less. I mean, we should try to get into the best shape of their life with minimal suffering, and we can do that by eating throughout the day more, high volume, high protein, me sounding like a broken record, doing all the things that we need to do. I'm gonna quickly bring up this other PDF if I can share it. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, so this is simplified nutrition. This is a training I did a long time ago, but I like to keep it simple. So this is the nutrition protocol to keep things optimal in our calorie deficit. No skipping breakfast. Try to eat within the first hour of waking. That's the first opportunity for muscle growth because you just fasted your sleep. You just fasted for 7 hours. Now you have the opportunity to build some muscle. Your muscles are waiting for that. Have protein at every meal, 20 to 35 grams. We need that protein. Eat a minimum of 2 fruits per day. Drink a gallon of water a day. Cook vegetables and have them at every meal. Eat at least 5 times per hour today. That's a little bit fundamental difference between what it mentioned over there. I want you guys to be eating 5 times per day because I want to keep your digestive system and metabolism moving. Think of your metabolism like a bonfire. The more you feed it, the more it burns. Okay, unless you overfeed it, you give it too much logs, and then you're gonna kill the fire. But if we can slowly feed it a little bit throughout the day, it's going to help keep our metabolism going. Protein, if you want to do the protein 5 times a day, that's fine. But I would like us to be eating 3 meals and 2 snacks throughout the day. Keep fat lower than protein and carbs just because for 1 gram of protein is 4 calories. 1 gram of a carbohydrate is 4 calories. 1 gram of fat is 9 calories. So it's double the amount of calories for the same volume, mass, and density. So that's why you got to be careful with fat because it's gonna taste really good, but it's also going to double the calories. So it's okay to eat fat, of course, but you want to be mindful because it's going to double the calories. And ask questions, have a positive attitude. So I want to just quickly show that. Go back to this. Fiber and water. Fiber and water are crucial for staying full and maintaining hydration. The water, I can make a whole episode about water, but it's going to help expand our stomach, help with curbing our hunger hormone. Fiber adds bulk to our meals, keeping you full, and water ensures that our body stays functioning at its best. Why high volume and why high protein and high fiber? Volume fills up your stomach, adding a lot of calories. Volume fills up your stomach without adding a lot of calories, making it easier to stay into a deficit. And protein, helps retain the muscle and keeps you from feeling so hungry. So if we're trying to lose body fat, we want to make sure that we're hitting our protein goal because that's going to maintain our muscle mass as we shed the body fat. Fiber, slow digestion, so you can stay full for longer, which makes the calorie deficit more sustainable. And also, the protein is going to help maintain our muscle as we lose body fat. But we also need to be training. You can't just your muscle, you can't just you'll maintain a little bit of your muscle, but if you're not working out, you need to be training hard. Really, when you're in your calorie deficit, you need to be pushing yourself so you can try to continue to build muscle and get stronger. Because if you can hit PRs and be in a calorie deficit, that's when we're going through body composition, which is the most magical shit ever. Body recomposition is when you're burning fat and building muscle at the same time. And it takes a real solid plan to do that. But once you do that, and you are able to do that, it's pretty an amazing process because you see that you're hitting PRs, but you're also losing body fat. That means that you're adding muscle and losing body fat, which we're killing 2 birds in 1 stone. A lot of people try to shed off the body fat first and then add the muscle, but depending on what your starting point is, you can do both at the same time, which will save you a lot of time. All right. Mindset is key, guys. Mindset is key. Fat loss requires a mental shift. If you have to want it badly enough to stick through the discomfort. This is why investing in yourself is one of the clearest signs of self-love. Once you spend that money on me, your subconscious is like, wow, okay, we are taking this serious. Holy crap. Like, this is the real deal. Your subconscious is paying attention to your actions. So when you change your actions, you slowly change how you see yourself. Okay? Mental toughness. You have to build that mental toughness and stay in the game. Like the consistency is the name of the game. A lot of people for a couple months, 2, 3, 4 months, they're not seeing a lot of progress. It's like month 5, holy shit! Like we just struck gold because we were consistent, we were patient, and the universe rewarded us. You have to build that mental resilience. Okay, when you progress feels slow, like just know that you're in a contraction phase, and right after that, if you can stay consistent, you're going to be in expansion phase. Okay, high protein, high fiber, high volume diets. I don't even like the word diet. Nutrition protocol helps because it makes us staying in a calorie deficit easier and more sustainable. But ultimately, it comes down to the mindset. So it's a mix of the mindset. It's a mix of the high protein, high fiber, high volume. It's a mix of everything to make this work. Steps for success. We track in our calories. Tracking helps to see if you're in a deficit. Without tracking, it's hard to know if you're making progress. That's why I want all you guys tracking. Meal prepping. I meal prep. I want you guys to meal prep. It's going to make this process a lot easier. Prepping meals ahead of time makes it easier to stay on track. When you know what you're going to eat, you're less likely to make impulsive decisions. You're less likely to feel overwhelmed and anxious, like, fuck, what do I got to eat to stay on track? You already got it prepped. No need to worry. Consistency. The key to long-term fat loss, consistent effort. Guys, I'm telling you, consistency. Like, well, and the thing is not only consistency, but consistently doing the right things without taking back steps. Because there's a lot of people who are consistent and not seeing results. There are a lot of people who go to the gym I've seen for years and they still look the same because they're taking back steps or they're not executing on one of these steps properly. So consistency, but consistently doing the right thing and having a coach to reassure you, like, yeah, we're doing the right thing. Stick to the plan, even when progress seems slow. Oh, my laptop almost just crashed on me. Well, this is what you get. All right. I think we're good. So focus on sustainability. Make sure your nutrition is something that you can stick to long term. I don't expect you guys to track your calories for the rest of your life, but I do expect you to hopefully maybe prep your meals for the rest of your life. You're going to save money that way. And it's for me, it's just more convenient. And but if you don't want to prep your meals for the rest of your life, I hope that you prioritize protein, you prioritize nutrient dense food, you prioritize whole food, you prioritize fiber, and you incorporate high volume eating. I hope you do that for the rest of your life. Because once we get the transformation in the program, and once we get there, it is easier to maintain it. A lot of people say that it's not. It's easier to maintain it once you hit your dream physique. It's easier to maintain it, okay? Because you've already built the mindset to create it. Because the hard part is building the mindset to create it. So now that you're in the trenches, building the mindset to create it, this is the hard part. So make sure that you're hitting yourself with that positive self-talk all the time. High volume, high protein, high fiber. I'm gonna make like this a rap song. High volume, high fiber, high protein. I just all right. They keep you full and they help you from feeling deprived. Okay. Philosophy. My fat loss philosophy. Mental strength over physical strength. And we're going to talk about muscle building in a next training. Muscle building is a lot more physical strength because muscle building is fun. Like it's fun to work out and shit. Like and it's fun to eat a lot of calories and it's fun to eat a lot of food that tastes yummy. It's fun to not track our food. It's fun to not meal prep. Like all that is like it's fun. Like the hard part is the nutrition. That's why it's the mental side. So we can actually be fun by being like, because it actually can be fun when you're like, let's see how disciplined I can be. Let's see how consistent I can be. Like it's fun to see what I'm capable of. It's the mindset shift that we're adopting. Fat loss is more about mental toughness than it is about working out or counting calories. Stay mentally committed and physically results will follow. Focus on the big 3: calorie deficit, protein, fiber, and water. All right, guys. And also, I wanted to quickly mention identity. Like a lot of people that I've worked with, like if you're still identifying as that fat person, you're gonna go back to that identity after you leave the program. You need to identify now with someone else. Like the old you kind of needs to die. Not kind of. The old you needs to die so the new one can be reborn. I'm not saying that like in a negative way, and I know that some people might think that's negative, but what I'm saying is that you need to identify with the person that you want to become inside this program. Like that's who I like. The ultimate result, like you need to identify with that, okay, and not go back to your past identity. Your inner critic is gonna try to get you back there. But the thing with, I've worked with people, not to talk shit up. I've worked with people that are 500 pounds and stuff, and it's very a mental struggle. It's I can't even articulate it. I've worked with people who are 500 pounds, and I've also worked with people who are 120 pounds. And being 120 pounds, like kind of like what I started in my fitness journey, being very scrawny, it was very physically demanding for me to put on the size. Very physically demanding, but it was kind of fun besides all the injuries. But working with people who are very obese and not talking crap, I love all you guys. I love all humans, and I know how hard it is to carry that extra weight. That's why it's very fulfilling to me to help people lose a lot of body fat, because that's I want to help you live a higher quality life. And we can lose that body fat, but you need to fully understand it's not necessarily how, it's more necessarily who. We need to keep working on our mindset and understand that this is really a mental battle. Don't know if this makes sense, but what do you do look for to tell if yeah, so what do I do to look for to tell if someone's lost enough fat? I mean, I can just tell by looking at someone what their base body fat percentage is. So like we should see some abs. Like once we can see some abs, some vascularity, like that's the level of leanness I like to get my clients to at some point eventually. You want to get like, Kevin, who has mentioned this, you're pretty close. You're pretty close. That's why we're dropping a little bit fat over time. So I want to see our abs, at least our upper abs, and I want to see a vein coming through, at least on the bicep. Most people who can see a vein on their bicep and can see their upper abs, that is at a level of leanness that most people are going to be super confident with taking their shirt off at the beach. But it's ultimately up to you. We could get a little bit leaner, or we don't need to get that lean. Okay, but I would say around ideally is around 12 to 15% body fat. And Kevin, if you want to message me privately, we can talk about what body fat percentage you're sitting at right around now. But did that answer your question? I want to see a bicep vein on you, and I want to see a little bit of the upper abs, and then that's a good visual indicator to me that we're at a level of leanness that is good. Cool. Any other questions, Kevin, about today's training? Focus on the big three, guys. Calorie deficit, protein 5 times per day, fiber, and water. Consistency is the name of the game. This takes time. This takes time. Yeah, and Kevin, is that what you want? I mean, do you want to see a bicep vein? Do you want to see some of your abs come through? It's ultimately up to you. It's not what I want. I mean, if you're asking me, I'm gonna tell you, like, if it were me, how I would want to look. I want to see my abs a little bit. I want to see my veins a little bit. The leaner that we get, the more that we can show the muscle, and the more that we can see the muscle, and it's super inspiring, not only to you, but to the people around you. So I hope you guys got value from this training. We went deep into fat loss. I love losing fat. That's what I'm on the process of doing right now. September, I made a commitment to myself to lose 10 pounds. And I'm actually like already 5 pounds down. So I'm super stoked. So I started at 180 at the end of last month, and now I'm already 175. So the goal is to get to 169 by October. So that's the goal. I think I'll get pretty close to that because I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. This isn't rocket science. It's a mental thing. Like I just gotta track my calories. I gotta prep my meals. I gotta go on my walks. I gotta prioritize high fiber, high volume foods. I gotta do all the things, and I gotta track these metrics to make sure that we're on the right track, guys. We are all we're all in this together, guys. If I can do it, you can do. Trust me. If I can do it, you guys can too, and you guys are gonna surpass me. If you guys just keep putting in the work, you keep showing up for yourself, you're gonna surpass me. All right, guys. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys, and I will see you guys next week's training. Peace. All right.